with SWAC Digital TV and ESPN. So it is so great to be with you this morning. Just remember to use the raise your hand feature, and we will call on you as we continue through all the coaches this morning. Of course, I mean, with the SWAC, you can get after the cross country meet. With that said, we're going to start with our first coach, head coach Connell Maynor from Alabama A&M University. Alabama A&M was off this week. They get ready for the Magic City Classic this week in Birmingham, Alabama. Coach Maynor, thank you for joining us, and give us an opening statement on the off week and this coming up week with Alabama State.
Week and came at the right time in the season. Week 7, you need a break. You got bumps and bruises, so came in a great time for us to try to get some of these bumps and bruises healed up, get these guys in the training room, let them rest up, and see if we can get these guys back for the stretch run. Practice-wise, we practiced 3 days, and he's off, and got those young guys from that haven't got a lot of rest this year. While we kept the guys out that's been playing and let those guys kind of heal up again, as I was saying earlier. So it was a good week. It was a good week. We was able to go back and look at ourselves, offense and defensively, get young guys some reps and get some reps. So we'll be ready to go for this week.
Thank you, Coach. Questions for head coach Connell Maynor? Okay, you can use your raise your hand feature if you have any questions for Coach Maynor. Coach, talk a little bit about Magic City Classic. What does that mean to this team and, of course, to this university?
It's the Classic. It's the biggest game of the year for the Bulldog Nation, and rightfully so. It's the Classic. It's the Classic of all classics, and it's a great rivalry. It's always a great football game, and our fans want to win this game, man. This is the one game they talk about from day one that I got this job. We got to win the Classic. We got to win the Classic, Coach. So, we try to prepare as best we can. Coach Robinson done a big job with those guys since he's been there. Got those guys playing hard and competing, and had a chance to win every game they played so far. So, we expect it to be a 4-quarter game, and hopefully we can come out on top, make one more play than they did. A couple of years ago we had 3 overtime. Throw the records out in rivalries like this. You don't need those rah-rah speeches. It's Classic week. It's Alabama State versus Alabama A&M, and that's all that has to be said.
We have a question from the gallery, and it's from Rob J. Rob, go ahead.
Thank you, Santoria, for taking my question. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Rob.
Just find out, how do you keep you guys from the outside strike when it comes to a game like this?
Well, I kind of treat it like homecoming and let the guys know, look, this is another football game for us. It's the biggest game of the season because it's the next game. And so everybody wants to win the game. That's what we have to do. So I have to prepare these guys to try to win the football game. And then everybody, all the hoopla around it, all the Alabama A&M fans will be happy if we win the football game. But I have to get them prepared, block everybody out, all the other sides, the parade and everything else that comes along with it, and the banquets and the police escorts and all that stuff, and just focus on the football game. And so that's what we try to do.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck to you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Our next question comes from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Cavill's Inside. You see what's that? How you doing, Coach Ray?
How you doing, man? You normally the first one, man. You're slipping up on me.
Yeah, I'm doing some double duties. I tried to slide in there and couldn't get that hand up quick enough.
All right.
I appreciate you. I want to talk about your team. You're progressing, obviously, new quarterback. It seems like things kind of picked up. You're getting your points on the board. With the week off, did you get a chance to kind of analyze your team in terms of grading them or where they stand in terms of how well they picked up, at least from an offensive perspective?
Well, I think it's a week-by-week thing, a year-by-year. And I always tell the guys, preseason, you shouldn't be 5 games in the season as you were preseason. And then, at the end of the season, you shouldn't be the same as you was in 5 games in the season. At this point in the season, we tell the freshmen, you're not a freshman anymore. And so expect to play better in all phases of the game. And that's the goal, to continue to get better week after week. And that's what we try to do. Hopefully we are getting a little better. We're playing a lot of close games that I think that we could be playing a little bit better. But, you got to take your hats off to these other coaches and teams that we're playing. This is the SWAC, man, and you got to be ready to play every week. So every game is going to the fourth quarter.
With that, I want to talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, you had an overhaul, if you would, in terms of new players that came in. They've started out. There have been some schematics, I guess, that's taken to you where they put up some points, at least in the last couple of games. What are your thoughts in terms of what's going on with the defensive side of the ball in terms of you grading them to this point of the season?
Well, it's almost like when we need them to play well, they do. At times, they're showing flashes of being a defense, and then there's other times they should just been a regular defense. We're making a lot of plays, getting sacks, we're getting turnovers, but at the end of the day, they're still giving up too many points. And so we got to limit those big plays. And then in the red zone, not very good in the red zone. And so we definitely got to get better in the red zone. So we try to make a focus on that, run some more plays in the red zone, and understand that, when you get in that red zone, you got to bear back, man. You got to buckle down, and you got to hold the team to a field goal attempt or get a turnover. And so that's what we haven't been doing on defense, and that's what we need to start.
Well, as everybody said, it's Magic City Classic week. Excited for it. Ready to have some fun and watch some good football. Look forward to the matchup.
Yes, sir. Look forward to seeing you.
Take care.
Thank you, Dr. Cavill. Any other questions for head coach Connell Maynor from Alabama A&M University?
I don't know if necessarily.
Coach, what will your Friday be like? I know you guys have a lot of different activities that'll be going on.
We actually drive down Friday morning for the banquet at 11:30, and we do the traditional banquet, and then we go over to the museum. We take the players, both teams go to the museum and show the guys the museum, show them the church, and have a little history lesson there. And then we'll go over to the stadium for a walkthrough for about an hour. And then it's back to the hotel, regular Friday night. We'll eat, meet, and get prepared to play a football game the next day.
Any other questions? Coach Maynor, thanks for joining us. Good luck this weekend.
All right, thank you.
All right, next up is the head coach from the Alabama State University Hornets, head coach Eddie Robinson Jr. We're ahead a little schedule, just a little bit, so give us just a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we will move forward with the head coach of Alabama State University, head coach Connell Maynor. Of course, Alabama State also had the weekend off this past weekend and get ready for the Magic City Classic. Coach Robinson, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. How's it going this morning?
I'm doing well. Kind of talk about your open weekend and give us an opening statement.
Yeah, I mean, open weekend was a big part of it was academics, trying to make sure all the kids are catching up academically, make sure they're not falling behind and taking care of that part of it, the student athlete part. Then it was, definitely getting everybody healthy. I had a couple guys that are banged up, it was week 6, week 7. So you know how that goes. And then just trying to look at what we're doing successfully, what we can get better at, and then preparing for Alabama A&M and Coach Maynor.
Thank you, Coach. And questions now for head coach head coach Eddie Robinson Jr. I'm sorry. Make sure you use the raise hand feature. And the first question comes from Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Ville's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Robinson, Eddie Robinson Jr., how are you doing this morning?
Going well. Thanks.
No problem. Wanted to ask you a little bit about, obviously, the past, historical nature of the matchup. Previously, when you came in the league, I don't believe Alabama A&M obviously was a conference matchup. As somebody that's a fan of the league and follow it, how has that heightened the game as you've seen from afar about this now being a conference matchup in terms of Magic City Classic?
Yeah, when I played in it, of course, they were still in the SIAC, but it was just as big of a rivalry. So the teams went had it just the same. But I think once they got into the SWAC, a lot of times this game was the game that decided who would go on to win the East. And so it was a really big game. And so hopefully we can get it back to that. I think it's at that level now. Whatever team wins this game would definitely be in a position to still try to make a move on Jackson State if they should falter at the top. So I think it's a lot riding on it for both teams besides just being the Magic City Classic. So I think that's the part that makes it even more exciting because, you look down the road at the way that East matchup is going to go. This is going to be a game that you have to win if you want to represent the conference.
From a philosophical standpoint, do you talk about that with the team, or is this something that in terms of the need of where you stand in the standings, how important a game is, or is it more just about the players doing the fundamental things such that they can come out and be in a position to win?
Well, to me, I think you got to give kids. These kids are smart. I mean, they have cell phones. They can look at anything that they want at the tip of a finger. So to me, you give them the big picture approach of where it all is, where it is, and then once you make it and say that once, then at that point you get down to blocking and tackling on each play. I don't think you have to keep dwelling on it. And so it's the Magic City Classic. Everybody knows what the game means. So everybody in the locker room is excited about it. So the fans, the stadium, the city. So once you give that big approach, then you move on from it.
Last question I have real quick is from the standpoint that you're halfway through the season with 8 conference games playing, you played 4 of them. With this being a break, have you had a chance to kind of analyze where you believe your team is in terms of your first year coming through here halfway through the season?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a couple tough conference games at home. And so you kind of look at, who's doing what around the conference. For me, I think a lot of the teams are running the football a little bit more than anybody would have thought. SWAC has kind of been known as a passing conference, but I think we have some really good coaches. Coach Maynard, I mean, he realizes, hey, give ourselves a chance to run in the football and play good defense. That philosophy still works and wins football games. So I think good coaches are you coach to what you do good. Everybody goes into the season and say, hey, this is my plan. But midway through, you say, hey, what do we do well? And if you're smart, you're going to gravitate to that. We've kind of been a victim of that also. And you're going to do what you do well and try to win football games. That's the most important thing.
Thank you, Coach Robinson. Look forward to the matchup. Good luck this weekend.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Next up is Mark Gray. Mark?
Hey, Coach Rob, how are you?
Going well. How's it going, Mark?
All right, it's been a long time, my friend. I wanted to, it's interesting. The light bulb kind of went off. If I could take you back to your broadcast days when you did some MEAC games, SWAC was known more as a passing league. It seems like the tenderments of the game have moved more physical. Can you attribute that to the success that the MEAC teams have had against the SWAC, where you bring a more physical brand of football in to sort of match which was, taking advantage of you so to speak, and head-to-head matchups to change the way that the game is being played a little bit in the conference?
Yeah, well, that's a big question, but I understand where you're going with it. So, yeah, I guess you can have some of that. I mean, ultimately, you do have the MEAC SWAC challenge, and then at the end, of course, you have the Celebration Bowl. And so, I mean, those type of things. I mean, you kind of look at it from a holistic standpoint, but to me, I think the teams are just kind of focusing on what they do well. And then you look at, you know, what's winning inside the conference. If everybody's doing something this way, and you can kind of cut the edge and do it a little bit different and get some W's, then you probably stick to it. So I don't think anybody is going in to say, hey, I want to run 50 times a game. I want to pass 50. You kind of look at, hey, what do I do well as a team, and what can get me to a W? And then I'm going to kind of stick to what I do well.
Where have you gotten better this year, Coach? As you look and now had a week back, where do you see your greatest growth, and where do you want to get better going into this week's game?
Well, I think we still want to pass the football a little bit more efficiently, take some more big plays. I mean, we're running the football at a pretty good clip when we commit to it, but I think just having that balance of still having that ability to score fast at times. But you know, I'm a defensive guy. I mean, I'm happy with a 12-play drive. To me, I think that's poetry. I love it. So it's not like it's not like I'm complaining if it takes us. If you can play efficient football and control the clock, I still think that can win football games.
And my last question will be, in the moment where you are right now from a program standpoint, I mean, you've been successful in business, so I'm sure you have benchmarks that you look to meet along the way. Have you reached any of your benchmark yet? Do you see progress? And if so, where?
I mean, I think we're progressing just from the standpoint of being a more disciplined team. I think early on in the year, we were getting 10, 12 penalties a game, getting a lot of personal fouls a game. So we're moving that in the right direction. So, you know, to me, discipline doesn't show up on Saturday. You know, it shows up in breakfast checks, shows up in going to study hall, shows up in all of those smaller things during the week. And when you do those things during the week, then it just shows up on Saturday. It doesn't start on Saturday. So if we can be disciplined during the week and win at the easy things, and that should translate to us being a disciplined football team on Saturday.
Hey, good luck. I'll see you on Saturday.
All right, appreciate it.
Coach, what will your Friday look like going down to going up to Birmingham?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as Alabama A&M. Of course, we're going to have the early morning team luncheon, which is always pretty good. Good chance for the kids to interact. And then after that, I think we go to the walkthrough first, and then after that, we go to the museum second. And so once we go through those type of activities, we'll get back to the hotel, and pretty much a typical Friday, getting ready for a 2:30 kickoff.
Coach, thank you so much. Good luck this weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, just a couple of notes here. Don't forget, if you want to ask a question, please use the raise your hand feature. I know we have some new people aboard. For those who are just coming on, my name is Santoria Black. I'm with the SWAC Digital Network and ESPN, filling in for Andrew Roberts this morning, who was with the Cross Country Championships. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. And then, of course, if you need anything from Andrew, he said just let him know, send him an email, and he will get back with you as soon as the championships are over with. All right, we're going to give you just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to get to head coach Fred McNair from Alcorn State. Give us a couple of minutes. Okay, everyone, next up is the head coach of Alcorn State University, head coach Fred McNair. The Alcorn State University Braves lost a tough game this weekend to Texas Southern by the score of 34-27. They'll play against Grambling State University in Grambling at 2 p.m. The game will be on ESPN+. Coach, thank you for joining us. Give us an opening statement and review of the game last week.
Great game, man. The kids fought hard. Coach McKinney, I thought he brought his team in ready to play football. From opening kickoff up to the end, so we just fell short, and we had a couple things go against us. Quarterback didn't play as well as we expected him to. He had 3 picks, 1 for a pick 6. Kind of cost a little bit, not discrediting Coach McKenzie's defense and what they did with some good stuff. So I'll give the hats off to them for the way they played. They played tough physical ball game on both sides of the ball. And they had a punt return for a touchdown too as well. So they did what they had to come and get a win here this week. So just got to get these guys up and get ready to play a good Grambling State football team.
Thank you, Coach. Our first question comes from Dr. Cavill. Doc?
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Offensively, you were able to run the ball in terms of how being able to put up 135 yards, getting the end zone, and then even passing the ball, Anthony was able to put up some yards in terms of receptions. But the turnover game in special teams, how much of a challenge is it to even be in a game when you lose a turnover battle in special teams?
That's the biggest thing. It's uncharacter the way the quarterback played. I thought he had a real good ball game up until those turnovers. We had 3 picks and 1 for a pick 6. So the turnover battle was lost. And special teams, we've been playing really solid special teams all year up until that point. I thought the gunner got jammed inside there on the punt return. He didn't get out wide enough. So we didn't have no contain outside. So he was able to just come down the sideline freely. We had a couple guys down on the punt return. Instead of them coming to balance and making a play, they take full speed and just didn't make that play there. So the turnover battle really hurt us this week. So like I said, not discrediting the things that Texas Southern did coming in. They did some good stuff on defense. And hats off to those guys. They did a great job.
Thank you, Coach McNair.
Okay, our next question comes from John Bryce.
Hey, Coach Mac, good to talk to you as always, man. Appreciate the time. You guys just have the 2 conference losses, but you've got a bunch of conference games remaining. There's a lot to play for. You've got a program that's used to playing for the SWAC championship. How do you deliver that message to your guys?
And the biggest thing, we talked about it on yesterday morning before we went out to practice yesterday afternoon in terms of what we got to do to bounce back, get ourselves off the mat. We got to stay focused for a total of 60 minutes, so those things going to occur. You're going to have breakdowns and stuff that's going to come unknowing, things like that. I think the quarterback state of mind, I think Coach Phillips doing a great job of getting those guys back engaged to what we got to do this upcoming week in preparation to play Grambling. So it's going to be a tough task for us down in Grambling. So it's always tough down there to play. So we just got to get these guys up, get them back working this week in terms of what we got to do in preparation for that.
And then my last one here is obviously the McNair name is synonymous with Alcorn State football and really with SWAC football. Now there's ESPN Game Day coming into the conference this weekend for that Jackson Southern game. Just from a conference standpoint and from a program standpoint for how hard every team works, how significant is that to have ESPN and to get that additional light shined on the SWAC?
It's just not started. It's been that way. ESPN been around for a long time. It's been that way. We had game day at the SWAC MEAC Challenge. So it's nothing different. And what they've been doing in terms of that. But those guys is I guess it's deserving for that to be that way. So it's a big game for both of them in terms of that. So I think the ESPN has been doing a great job. I think the commissioner is doing a great job of getting us exposure on ESPN Plus, ESPNU, and just whatsoever. So I think he's doing a great job of getting that exposure. But it's been that way for a while now. So it's just something that's going to be added on in terms of that.
I appreciate you, Coach Mac. Good luck the rest of the way, man.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any other questions from the media for Coach McNair? Coach, I did have one question to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Bryce talked about. Talk about the exposure and what's that done for you with recruiting, with being on the ESPN platforms and other television networks.
I guess the biggest thing is, kids see it. Kids love to be on TV, and the recruits that we bring in, they see the atmosphere that we carry here at Alcorn State, especially this past weekend. We had some recruits here on campus, a lot of them, a lot of guys that we have offered. Some of the guys came in and they really enjoyed the things that they saw on this platform. In terms of recruiting, well, I think as coach, we do a great job of going out and getting the guys that we addressing our needs in terms of positions. But the recruiting stage and what we're seeing, everybody knowing that we're being on TV a lot. Like it's just not started. 2019, I think we had 6 games that was televised. Since I've been here on ESPN or some fashion of ESPN, whether it's Plus or U. But it's been good for recruiting. We had some guys here that we hope to flip over to come to us. So we're looking forward to that and being engaged with the recruits that we're trying to get in to help us win ball games.
John, did you have another question for Coach McNair?
No, I apologize. I forgot to lower my hand. That's my apologies.
No problem. Any other questions for Coach McNair from Alcorn State? Coach McNair, good luck this weekend.
Thank you a lot, sir.
All right, we're a little ahead of schedule. We'll have Coach Terry Sims from Bethune-Cookman here momentarily. But before we get to Coach Sims, just a review, we did not talk about the television games here. First of all, Southern and Jackson State will be on ESPN Plus. It'll be replayed on ESPNU at 10 a.m. That will be on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, the Alcorn Grambling game will be on ESPN Plus as well. So that their TV schedule should be updated on the website at SWAC.org. All right, give us a couple of minutes as we are ahead of schedule here, and then we'll get to Coach Sims from Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, God, y'all, for real. See, this is the stupid shit.
Just a reminder to please make sure that your microphones are muted. Is Coach Sims on the call yet? Okay, we're awaiting Coach Sims, and then we'll be on with Coach from Bethune-Cookman. All right, we're awaiting Coach Simmons. He should be on the call here in just a couple of minutes. For those of you who have just joined us, we're waiting for Coach Terry Sims from Bethune-Cookman to join us. As soon as he joins us, then we'll begin Bethune-Cookman's interviews. All right, everyone. We have Coach Terry Sims now from Bethune-Cookman joining us here on the call. Coach Sims, are you there?
I'm here.
Coach, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Bethune-Cookman won against Mississippi Valley 45-35 this past weekend. They'll be going to Prairie A&M coming up this weekend for a 2 p.m. game. Coach, if you could give us an opening statement.
Yeah, I thought we played a okay football game, not great. You have to take your head off to Valley. Coach Dancy and his staff had those guys ready to play. We played a up and down first quarter, made way too many mistakes for me. Seemed like we started to settle down in the second quarter, and I thought we played team football from that point on. Still had a couple MAs, but for the most part, we had guys trying to do the things they were coached to do, and we ended up coming out with the victory at the end in a very, very good football game, in my opinion.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much. Questions for Coach Sims from Bethune-Cookman? Remember to use your raise hand feature in order to ask questions. Dr. Cavill?
Good morning, Coach Sims. This is Kenyatta Cavill with Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Good morning. How you doing, Doc?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. When you talk about that matchup, you were able to put up a lot of yards. Your offensive got going back and forth. Talk a little bit more in terms of the nature of your play from Jalen Jones. How is he improving, particularly in this game and over the season?
Well, I think, Jalen did just what we expected him to do. He came out and he played a good football game. He managed the game. He did not try to win the game on his own. He did the things that the coaches are asking him to do. He managed the football game. He got us in good situations, and he made decent decisions all day.
Also want to talk about this week's matchup. You head to Prairie in the Texas. You're familiar with that area, but I believe you've traveled there with Bethune-Cookman and your team recently. What are your thoughts in terms of facing up against a Prairie team that seems to be able to run the ball pretty well?
Well, we got our work cut out for us, and that's something that we've been talking to our guys about, all day yesterday, and we talked to them this morning when we had a chance to meet with them. We're not going in underestimating anyone. Prairie View's had an opportunity to put some points up. They run the ball very well. So we have to have our run defense intact. And our guys have to go in with the mindset that we have to definitely stop the run first.
Do I have time to ask a follow-up question?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Coach Sims, also wanted to ask you a little bit about Bird, running back, 109 yards on 17 carries, a little over 6.4, 6 yards a carry, got in the end zone. Talk a little bit about his ability to run the football and what style he has and his vision as he moves towards the line.
Well, Bird is a special guy. And that's just him from top to bottom. He's a definite guy that you love to watch prepare during the week because he practices just like he plays. And watching him prepare, week in and week out, watching film, watching him go over his steps and the things that he does, he has to do during the week. It's just a pleasure to watch a young man, and I've watched him grow over the years with him being in this program.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup this weekend.
Thank you. I hope to see you, Doc.
I look for you. I'll be in there.
Any more questions for head coach Terry Sims from Bethune-Cookman? Coach Sims, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, we will have head coach Willie Simmons from Florida A&M on in just a few moments. Okay, we should have Coach Willie Simmons on. Coach, are you there?
Give us a couple minutes. Usually it's 11:45, so let me go grab them.
Yeah, we are a few minutes ahead of schedule.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Coach Simmons. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. Coach, if you could give us an opening statement on this week's game coming up against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Well, it's an exciting week here in the House of Seven Hills. Obviously, it's homecoming. Looking forward to a great festive week. A lot of activities, a lot of alum that'll be rolling into town, and we're excited to represent the university and have a tough Pine Bluff team coming in that's obviously under transition with interim coach Treadwell. So we're excited to play a football team. We know they'll come in and be ready to play and give us their best shot. So need a great week of preparation. Had a good practice yesterday and look forward to 3 more.
All right, thank you, Coach. And of course, you can use your raise your hand feature when you want to ask a question. We'll start with IC Morrell.
How you doing, Coach Simmons?
I'm doing well.
All right, thanks, sir. So you guys got off to an 0-2 start, but what did you see changing your ball club during this winning streak that you've been on?
We just, stayed true to who we are. We played 2 really, really good teams. North Carolina is a top 25 football team, 6-1 overall, and obviously Jackson State's undefeated. So we lost 2 really good football teams, and but we didn't panic. We stayed true to our character, who we are, our beliefs, core beliefs, and the guys have been playing much better football since then. So hopefully we can continue to do so and continue to stack, good games on top of each other.
Coach, how much do you like your defense? Because, there's only been, since the loss to Jackson State, there's only been 1 game where you all have given up more than, say, 19 points.
I think defense has really found, really hitting their stride. And, we really had to look at personnel after the first 2 games. And, we didn't change schematically, but I think the defensive coaches did a phenomenal job of matching our personnel with what we did best and maybe taking the guys out of some stressful situation that we had put them in the first couple of weeks. And so we're playing really complimentary defense right now. And it starts with, dominant defensive line play. Our linebackers are playing at a high level. Isaiah Major is playing all conference, potentially all-American level football. Johnny Chaney is really coming into his own as a linebacker. And then in the back end, I think those guys are really found their confidence. Courtney Cox is playing as good a football as anybody, I believe, at the corner position. And, again, our safeties are doing a really good job. So all in all, it's a team defense. It's predicated on everybody doing their job, and those guys are really buying into what we're doing on that side of the ball.
Coach, thanks very much.
Our next questions come from Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Simmons.
Hey, good morning, Doc.
I know you go into every week with a plan. What was your plan of attack, if you would, for your off week? What did you want to get accomplished?
Well, we treat every bye week the same. We have 5 main objectives that we try to accomplish. The first one is to get caught up academically. A lot of work to make up. We've had some long road trips. So we had to leave on Friday. So allowing guys to make up tests, make up papers, meet with professors and advisors. We want to get back healthy. Obviously, we got some guys banged up, 7 games in, a physical schedule. And so we got some guys that are nicked and bruised that we need to get back healthy, get back to fundamental football, just basic alignment assignment, technical football without really having to worry about scheming another opponent. So we wanted to do that. We want to get our young guys some reps. We have a lot of guys that we've already identified as redshirt candidates and some guys that are helping out on scout teams. So they're not playing many scrimmage snaps. So gave them a chance to tee it up a little bit. And then last but not least, allowed us to get on the road and try to get some recruiting done. So, but we always try to accomplish those 5 things during the bye week. And I think we took full advantage of it.
Next week up, as you talked about a little earlier, is the Golden Lines. Obviously, the transition in the head coaching. What is the challenge when you prepare for a team schematically when they have a change at the top? How much of the challenge to be able to watch game film? Can you still be effective in doing that, or do you have to do some other things when you know there's a change potentially from head coaching making different moves with their ball club?
Well, first, I definitely, my thoughts with Doc. Doc and I started our SWAC careers together at Alcorn back in 2012. So anytime you have a colleague here, be removed from his position, it reminds us of the state of college football. But again, when you look at a team with a leader, Coach Treadwell's been running their offense, so we don't anticipate many changes offensively. Defensively, again, you never know if philosophically he may go to the defensive coordinator and say, "I want you to pressure more," or "I want you to play more man coverage." And so again, we'll see as the game progresses what their core philosophy is going into the game. I think it's hard to change mid-game. I think you come up with a plan and you try to adjust throughout the game as to what that plan is. But we'll see early on if their game plan is more of what they've done to other teams that are similar to us schematically, or if they've done what some teams have done and kind of thrown those game plans out the window and come up with an entirely different plan. So that's what the in-game adjustments are for. And we got to be prepared to be really sharp up top with what we see and put our young men in the best position to be successful.
Thank you, Coach.
Any other questions for Coach Simmons? Coach, if you could, you talk to your young guys. This is homecoming week. What are you telling them about homecoming and making sure that they keep their focus?
Keep the main thing the main thing. Again, homecoming around here is very festive. A lot of activities, a lot of events going on. It started yesterday with coordination. And so for us, a couple of things. One, you got a team that's coming in under new leadership. So typically those teams bring a lot of life, a lot of energy. So you got to be prepared to match their energy and their intensity. Two, no one wants to be someone's homecoming opponent, right? Everyone takes that personal. So the energy that they'll bring trying to be homecoming spoilers is something that we have to be prepared for. And then again, what are our goals? We're right here in the thick of another playoff push, and we got to play really good football to, again, try to do what we did last year and be an at-large playoff team, if Jackson State doesn't stumble. So for us, we have enough incentives to focus on playing really good football. We've got the nation's second longest home win streak, and that's something that we take great pride in, winning here at Bragg. And, we don't want that to be snapped. And so, again, guys know what's at stake. And, again, if we, like I told them yesterday, we'll get what we deserve. And if we come out focused, locked in, ready to play football, we'll have a good showing. If we allow this week's distractions to be more important than what happens Saturday at 4:00, then we won't, and it's as simple as that. But the good thing is that it's our decision.
As a head coach, I know you're often asked to participate in some things in relations to homecoming because of alumni and different things like that. How do you balance that with everything else that you do?
Well, I tell them that anything you want Coach Simmons to do, you better do it before training camp starts in August. Because once training camp starts, I'm football 101. So I try to fulfill most of my alumni engagements, my fundraising initiatives, public speaking engagements, all of those things. I try to reserve those for the off season because I do understand that once football season comes, being the primary play caller, that my time is pretty tied up. My hands are pretty full trying to run this program. So the good thing about it, I've been here 5 years now. Our administration understands that. Our alumni understand that. And I don't get many requests outside of my normal weekly media requests and my weekly meeting with our touchdown club on Wednesday afternoons. So I don't anticipate much this weekend. We do have Good Morning America that will be here Thursday and Friday. And so there will be a small segment where they'll highlight the football program, much like they did at Jackson State this past weekend. But outside of that, I don't anticipate many obligations pertaining to homecoming.
Last question for you, Coach. Talk about the increased national visibility that our teams in the SWAC have had. Again, Good Morning America is going to be there. You've been on the ESPN platforms even more this year. Talk about how that has increased with your recruiting and then also just visibility.
Yeah, we said it during SWAC Media Day. This is probably it's been the most anticipated SWAC season in its history. A lot of exposure, a lot of eyes upon the SWAC and what we're doing. A lot of that can obviously be attributed to what's going on over at Jackson State. Coach Prime has done an amazing job of, just bringing awareness to something that we've done a long time, which is play a great brand of football, have really great coaches, great alumni bases, great programs, and great young men, right? And so we're excited as the other 11 coaches in this league to benefit from the increased exposure, and anytime you can have Good Morning America, College Game Day, ESPN, these worldwide brands coming to your campuses, it's only great exposure for each of us respectively. So again, I'm excited about the opportunity this weekend to highlight Florida A&M. We know we have a lot to sell here, and hopefully there's a student up in Washington, over in California, up in New York, Texas, or even overseas that just happens to be watching the tube and see Florida A&M University, and then they'll want to learn a little bit more about our phenomenal academic programs, our business program, communications, journalism, graphic design, allied health, engineering, architecture, you name it. We have phenomenal programs, and hopefully students want to be a part of it. And maybe there's a big time football player that just has an affinity for orange and green and wants to come down and join us on the House of Seven Hills.
Coach Simmons, thank you for joining us. Good luck coming up this weekend.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
Coming up next, we'll have Coach Hugh Jackson from Grambling State University. We'll be getting him on in just a minute or so. All right, we are awaiting Coach Hugh Jackson from Grambling State University. Give us a couple of seconds and Coach Jackson will be joining us. Coach Jackson, are you on there? All right, he's having a couple of issues just connecting real quick. Give us a few moments. While we're waiting for Coach Jackson, just to go over the TV schedule here real fast. Southern will play Jackson State on ESPN Plus. The game will be replayed at 10 p.m. on ESPNU that night, 10 p.m. on ESPNU. Alcorn and Grambling will play on ESPN Plus. It's 2 p.m. Central start. Southern Jackson is a 1 p.m. start. Lincoln and Texas Southern will play on AT&T Sportsnet Southwest. Alabama State and A&M, they'll play on one of the ESPN stations, and Arkansas Pine Bluff and Florida A&M will be on HBCU Go. Just awaiting Coach Jackson to connect. All right, we have head coach Hugh Jackson from Grambling State University on the call with us. Grambling State University Tigers had a bye week. They get ready to host Alcorn State University this Saturday at 2 p.m. Coach Jackson, thank you for joining us.
Sure. How you guys doing today?
We are well. Coach, give us an opening statement on the open week and the game against Alcorn.
Hey, I think we got a lot of good work done. Obviously, we had some things we had to clean up. I think our players focused on that and our staff focused on that, a good little self-scout of who we were and what we've done good and what we've done bad. And we're trying to right our wrongs, that's for sure. But more so than that, we're looking forward to playing at home again against a really good football team. Obviously, they didn't win last week, but it wasn't because of anything other than Texas Southern made some real good plays. And so we're looking forward to seeing a really good football team here this weekend coming into our stadium.
Okay, questions for head coach Hugh Jackson. We'll start with Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach, you said you guys did some self-scouting over the bye week and determined who you were as a football team. Who are you as a football team?
Well, we're a team that's been very sporadic on offense. You know, we're a team that we get penalties and inopportune times. We turn the ball over. On defense, we've given up big plays, but we've seen them slowed that down a little bit more. We need to convert third downs a lot better than what we have. We got to be a little bit more consistent playing football from play in and play out. So that's what it really showed us. And I think those things we started to correct.
So what adjustments will folks be able to see moving forward as to how far you guys have corrected the things you mentioned that kind of held you back the first half of the season?
Hopefully you'll see a more consistent team on offense. I think you'll see a team that rallies to the run a little bit more on defense and not allowing the ball to go over our head. And from a special team standpoint, that we make the kicks when we attempt them.
And one quick thing, self-scouting also involves like every aspect of the program, including coaching. How would you evaluate the job that you've done so far this first half of the season?
Well, none of us are happy with the job that we've done. I think we all get that. When you're 1-6, I mean, you have to look at everything. So we're not happy. We don't think we've coached as well as we can, and we don't think we've played as well as we can. So again, this has been a real good time for us to know where we need to pivot from and the things we need to pivot to. And I think we're making those adjustments and corrections.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Sure.
All right, next up is Dr. Cavell.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. inside the HBCU Sports Lab. When you talk about making the adjustments, looking at your program during the bye week, can you talk a little bit more in regards to, are there set things that you look at, or was it based on just the life experiences of going in break for an open week before you get back to your next?
No, it's not the life experiences. I think you have to let what you've seen tell you a story, right? I think that's why you have a self-scout. There's numbers there, but sometimes, numbers don't always tell you the truth. Numbers lie sometimes too. So you have to look at things for what they are. And when you look through everything, it gives you a better idea. Maybe you didn't make this play because maybe something was misblocked, or maybe, quarterback progression was wrong. Maybe a linebacker didn't see a double team. Those things might lead to bigger numbers, right? So you got to make sure you know why the numbers are saying what they're saying. And that's why we do a good job of self-scouting and understanding who we are a little bit better.
When you talk about your next opponent, Alcorn State, the Braves, they've been pretty effective being able to ball. What do you see in terms of how they've been able to be effective about ball in terms of what you want to get done to stop it?
Well, they can throw the football, obviously, and they've proven that. I mean, they have a quarterback who knows how to distribute the ball to their playmakers. They have runners, and they can run the football, so they're very versatile both ways. They can run it and throw it. And defensively, obviously, they play their 3-4 and they're 4 down. They get in and out. They have really good players. I think they're physical. I think they're tough. They understand their scheme. And, it's unfortunate that they've lost some games, but I think they're one of the better teams that we faced.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup.
Yes, sir.
We have time for one more question for Coach Jackson. Jeff Lightsey.
Hey, how's it going, Coach? It's Jeff.
Good.
Now, I want to ask you, coming off the bye week, you played a number of quarterbacks this year. Just what can we expect coming into this game? And I really just want to ask you about the development of that quarterback position this year.
Well, I think we're working at it. Obviously, we played a freshman the last couple of weeks. I think he's growing each and every day. Calvez. Obviously, we have Quintarius Hawkins that's played a lot of football for us. But I think right now I feel really good about where Julian is. And I think he's going to lead us the rest of the way. Again, when you make a decision to let a freshman play, you have to kind of go stick with him. And so he's going to be our starting quarterback. We're not going to, bounce off of that. Let him go play and see if he can get some wins under his belt.
Hey, do I have time for a quick follow-up or no?
We need to get to our Pond Bluff interview.
Okay, I got you.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Next up is the interim head coach for Arkansas Pond Bluff, Don Treadwell. Pond Bluff, of course, will play against Florida A&M this weekend at 4 p.m. Eastern. Coach, thank you for joining us. Coach, you need to unmute yourself here.
Is that better?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right.
Coach, let's start with an opening statement.
Well, I think, as we all know, there's been a change that has occurred within our program. We understand as coaches, especially those of us that have been around the block a few times, that things do happen through the course of a football season in the life of the football team, especially on the coaching standpoint. So therefore, we will adjust. We've got tremendous kids. We've got great leadership. in our administration with our AD Robinson and others. And at this point, we're just working in a positive way to finish strong with the young men that are here as we continue to move forward.
Coach, thank you very much. We'll start with questions. I.C. Morrell.
Treadwell, how you doing, sir?
Just fine.
Coach, I understand, there were a few days that you and the football team took a break since this was the bye week. But as you guys came back together and everything had transpired, what was the first thing that you shared with the football team about moving forward?
Well, I think probably one of the things that we addressed early on is the simple fact that, there aren't necessarily a lot of things in life that you can count on, but there are a few. And one of them is the word change. As we all know, and I'm sure each of you would agree, all of us are going to be affected by change probably more than once or twice during our lifetime. So we addressed that with the group, and we basically said when it comes to change, and I learned this from a gentleman who wrote a couple of great books by the name of Tony Dungy. And Tony basically reminded us that there's two choices when change occurs. You can respond to it, which is a positive thing where you embrace it and utilize that energy to move forward, or you can react to it and sometimes get stuck in the past. So we've decided, certainly as a staff and players, that we've chosen to respond and to move forward.
Coach, with that in mind, you've taken over the Michigan State football team in the interim when Coach D'Antonio had a medical issue, and then you've been head coach over at Miami of Ohio. So you've been a head coach before. What is your philosophy as far as getting this team on track any different? Is it going to be any different from what Coach Gamble established with this ball club?
Well, certainly, I think you have to coach within your own personality. I'm a different personality, and I think we all are. It wouldn't matter if it was Coach Gamble or anyone else. So you'll continue to be who you are. There's just a little bit more on your plate, as you can imagine at this point, because you're thinking big picture as well in terms of your team and that synergy, et cetera. So, there's certain things that we do that we'll continue to work within, but there'll probably be some subtle things that may not be big to the eyes of those that are not within the program, but our players and staff will kind of be aware as we move forward. And that's kind of a day-to-day process. But the biggest thing, the kids are back. I think, as you guys know, when you're not in a bye week, the good thing is you get back on schedule with practice. There's certain things you're doing. So you're not really sitting around being distracted by other possibilities. And the kids will be able to lock into a little bit more of something they enjoy doing, and that's playing football.
Thanks very much, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Cavill.
Yes, this is Kenyatta with Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Treadwell.
Good morning.
Wanted to ask you, you talked about speaking to your college athletes, your team, right after the announcement or sometime during that process. Can you talk a little bit more of, with your past experience, how can you tell about the feeling of the team? How are they moving forward with that? As you said, either they had one way to look at it, either take it and move forward or move back. Can you tell as a collective group how most of them seem to be taking?
Well, that's going to kind of be a little bit of a work in progress because today is the first day back where you're actually getting back in the groove of things. Needless to say, we have met with them. And I think like any organization, how you set the tone for a lot of players want to be led. So that being said, we're going to continue to create a positive environment for our kids to work within. We'll continue to give them direction. And I think like anything else, we discussed it a little bit earlier there, once they understand the choices you have when change occurs, and then you move them towards responding in a positive way to that. And we happen to be blessed, in my opinion, with some quality leadership in our upperclassmen. I've obviously sat down with our captains. So there's things that I think we will take ownership, if you will, collectively as we continue to move forward with staff, captains, and players.
Follow-up question is just about philosophy. Obviously, as you said, people are different, so coaches are different. Schematically, when you get into those differences, how realistic is it to be able to change what you do offensively or defensively in terms of schemes during the season or from half to half? a lot of people always talked about, always question saying, hey, we should look at this, or the team should be doing this from a fan's perspective, or even from a media perspective. But just overall in general, how much of a challenge is this to coach up young folks and say, hey, this is what we want to do coming into this season, but you want to change something like this? And obviously, with a coaching change, there's the opportunity for the schematic change. Is that realistic?
Yeah, I think that's certainly realistic, number one. And I think in doing that, whatever changes we do make, the one thing that we will do, it will start today, with our practice. And I think as long as you're consistent and you do a good job through the week, most coaches will probably share with you that if you're giving what is going to be your nuts and bolts of your philosophy, offense or defense, and you're providing clear direction, and you're giving the kids repetition to really get good at it, then each day they're going to get better, whatever you do. And each week they're going to continue to improve. So that'll kind of be our overriding thought as we move forward.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that perspective.
You're welcome.
All right, we have time for maybe one, maybe two quick questions. We'll go with G. Thomas.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Good morning to you.
Just a quick question from me. I'm not sure why my camera got me blessed out like that. But just a quick question from me. I'm Gerald Thomas. I'm from the Tallahassee Democrat. Of course, this week you will coach. Your first game is interim at Florida A&M. What better time to do it than a homecoming? Just tell me about just going into that game and that being your first game as being the interim of Arkansas Pine Bluff and trying to lead them to a victory in the midst of the homecoming madness as we going on at FAMU this weekend.
Well, we certainly have great respect for every team, and I've been blessed over the last basically 2 years now to be a part of the SWAC, to see the uniqueness and the quality of coaching and the quality of players that are there. Needless to say, and you already know this, when you look at Florida A&M, you have a team there that understands how to win. They're a very well coached team. They have outstanding talent. And then you sprinkle in what you just said, that it's homecoming. Man, we know we're going to be going into a tough environment, but you know what? Last time I checked, there's nothing like that movie, The Gladiator, in my mind. So we'll just do the best that we can, and we'll embrace the atmosphere, and we just hope to do the best job that we can to represent our university.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, we have time for one more quick question. James Hill.
Hey, Coach Treadwell, hope you and the fellas are well. Talk a little bit about the SWAC, and you've been there a while, but what HBCU football is like as opposed to the Big Ten and some of the other leagues, if you will, you've been a part of.
Oh, that would probably be a variety of a longer list than we have time. I think at the end of the day, the thing I'm impressed with, and I kind of alluded to that a minute ago, is that there are a lot of tremendous coaches, head coaches and assistant coaches in this SWAC that could easily be doing the same thing in any Power 5 school. I think it's my hat is off to the ones that have on their own chosen to stay in the SWAC because of their commitment to the HBCU. I think that's very valuable, and you can't put a price tag on that, but I'm very impressed. We just may not, as you know, in the SWAC many times have the monetary resources that the Power 5 has. But at the end of the day, if you have quality kids in your program, you put together a quality staff, and you have a supportive administration, you got a chance to move forward.
Hey, John, with Skylar Perry and Britain and the weapons you have, are you changing things around, or are you just staying with what you guys have been able to do? How do you put your stamp on this football team?
I think it's kind of a little bit of a work in progress. You're always going to stay content to look at the things you've done well. And then there may be some philosophical things that we'll look at that, we have the opportunity to implement based on our own personalities and our own thoughts with things that I'm sure that will merge within what we're doing. So I think you'll see a combination of things as we move forward as a football team.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week. Good luck at FAMU.
I appreciate it. You broke up a lot, but appreciate your time.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Okay, you bet. Have a good day.
All right, next up, we'll have the head coach of Mississippi Valley State University, head coach Vincent Dancy. Coach, how you doing this morning?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing well. Coach, talk a little bit about your last game and your game coming up.
Oh man, I thought it was an exciting football game. I thought we started just how we envisioned on starting, creating a turnover, um, and taking it right in to score, coming right back again and having another opportunity to score. But we just didn't call. They created a turnover and kind of had a and kind of got a little momentum once they created the turnover. But our guys continued to fight. Like I said, it was an exciting game. Came down to the wire. And so I'm proud of my guys for their efforts. But tremendous credit to Bethune and their staff for the way they fought as well.
All right, questions for head coach Vincent Dancy. All right, we have our first question, James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody back in the Delta are well. Just talk about the Delta Devils, this year's team as you move forward. Think you have a coach. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you breaking up, but I understood the question.
Yes.
This team is a team, like I said, very talented team. We just hadn't, been able to put it together all year long. Of course, there's no excuses in football. Don't want to make it excuse, but we've been, riddled with injuries, this whole year, whether it's from the offensive line to the secondary to a lot of different key positions on this football team that help be who we are. But going into this bye week, we look to heal, mentally and physically going into this bye week. Of course, working on some things that we need to work on. Of course, correcting what we need to correct this week. Really focusing on who we are and also the importance of handling academics as well.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, next up, Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBC Sports Lab. Obviously, your offense got going in terms of this game, but then the defense didn't quite move like they had done in the past. So you one side and then it doesn't quite. But how much a game and how big is momentum when you're trying to get over the hump? Like you said, you move the ball 2 consecutive drives essentially, and then you get the big turnover that switches that momentum a lot of ways. Your team fought back, was back in the game. But talk a little bit about just momentum of a football game, particularly at the college level.
Man, I think it's everything, especially when you're working your way, or you can see that you're gaining all the momentum that you need to really just pull this thing off early. You can see it, you can sense it, you can feel it. I thought thinking back, if we could have scored that touchdown going in and being up 14 early in the game, I really felt that we could capitalize off the turnover, off the block punt, and really put those guys away early. But that interception for a touchdown really swung the momentum back into their favor. And they kind of rolled high on that momentum for a while, but we fought back and, made it a very exciting game. But momentum is everything when you talk about college football. It's the team with the momentum who, it doesn't matter who you are, but if you can gain momentum in a game, sometimes that momentum will stick with you through it.
Appreciate that. I want to ask you a little bit about Jamari Jones. Seemed to have problems in games. Passing wise, he was 13 to 28, 218 for 3 touchdowns. As you know, unfortunately, he had 2 interceptions. And that also was able to get some things done with legs in terms of rushing 100 yards on 16 carries. Todd played this game, and do you believe you can get some momentum in terms of him moving forward?
Oh man, yeah, it was just, I think he has the talent, he has the skill set. Like I said all along, he's just a young man that needs more experience, more game time experience. And as game he's played, he's gotten better in throughout the course of the game. And of course, he can run the ball. We know he can run. We know he can use his legs when he needs to. But we want to make him a better passer, and but just a better quarterback overall. Being able to see things early, being able to think sooner, being able to make in-game adjustments. I think that's where he's gonna really be the best at what he can be when it comes to being a quarterback once he get more experience at the position. But he did well. Of course, we could take those turnovers back, especially the first turnover. I thought he would have really played an exceptional game, but being able but doing the things that he's doing, he's progressing every week, and hopefully, he can continue moving his team forward and continue progressing at the quarterback position.
Can we get one follow-up question in there?
Yes, we have time for question.
Coach, I want to talk about defensively. What do you think schematically Bethune-Cookman able to do that you want to work on this week to get the defense back to us? Hopefully it wasn't injuries.
Well, I think they spreaded us out. And they used once they spreaded us out and got us spread out. I mean, they got a good running back, man. He was hard to bring down all night, and I thought the key component was the quarterback using his legs. I mean, the quarterback, Jones had a tremendous game, being able to scramble around and use his legs and get out of, and being able to get them out when they needed him to. And I thought that he was the key, being able to escape and being able to move around and help them doing drives by using his legs just as our quarterback did. And we tried to contain him, but at one, I think he maybe two huge runs against us that really kind of hurt us. But their running back did a solid job as well. This was we had went 2 consecutive games without giving up 100 yards, and I think he eclipsed over 100 plus yards this game. So they kind of spreaded us out thin in the box and used that to their advantage.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Coach. So.
All right, thank you.
All right, next up will be head coach Bubba McDowell from A&M University. Coach McDowell, thank you so much for joining us. An opening statement.
Good morning, guys. How everybody? Yeah, we came in going into Lamar, to run the ball, to throw the ball, and again, just making sure that our guys understand that they need to go out there and focus for 4 quarters of football, and that's what we did. We know we've always been a good first half team. Cleared the locker room at halftime, got everybody out of there and talked to the guys individually, and just told them, hey, just go out and continue to play football the way that they know how to play football, and more importantly, execute, the assignment that has been given to you. And then the last half, should I say, the third and the fourth.
Coach, thank you very much. This week will host Bethune-Cookman, the 2 p.m. start time. Our first question coming from Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Cavill, inside HBC Sports Lab. I just want to ask you one off the field question in regards to the players that were suspended. Were they able to sit out this game, or will you do a step approach in terms of those players that were suspended?
Yes. That there's 2 guys on Kenyatta that we got to that was involved in the event. But everybody will be back for this game, but that's what we're still going to talk to and see what happens with those 2.
Thank you, Coach McDowell. That being said, having 8 players out for the game, a little more momentum in terms of what you were able to do against Lamar. In terms of the depth, potentially, what it is. First half, you had control of the game, but they were able to cover with you. But the second half, you continued to score, but shut them in a lot of ways. Obviously, a non-conference win, good for the program and for the SWAC. Talk about the focus your team came in, ready to play the game after all the outside distraction was going on in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and our main goal, again, just to get them to perform, the second half. We've always been a good first half team, but then just coming out second half, we have been shown to be real flat going into this week. Prior to the game, we just stress to these young men that they can go out and do the job, and a lot of times these guys get in positions and want to make plays, want to be that guy, and end up costing us. Again, man, we just told everybody let everybody do their 100, as they call it, and we'll be okay. And that's what I kind of stressed to him at halftime. Coach Rock came in at halftime, who was our special team coach and linebacker coach, yelling, "Hey, do your job." Coach Middleton, our DC, came in, "Hey, do your job." And like I said, then when I cleared the locker room, I reiterated the exact same thing. Just do your job, guys. And shoot, they went out there again and did their job. Was a mistake still made? Absolutely. Could we get better? Absolutely. Some defensive on the defensive line, which everybody knows that's kind of part of our defense, with the front seven, and those guys up front played really, really well, man. So my hats off to them young men. I was so proud of being, Southland team and going out there and executing, for 4 quarters.
Last question I have in terms of moving forward, on the job, the front line. Did the job when you look at the fact that you're able to rush for 400 yards, including 3 guys that were over 100 yards, Jaden Stewart, Antoine, and Conley, all rushed for over 100 yards, which is amazing when you think about it. Doesn't happen very often. But now you got a transition for homecoming week. You bring in Bethune-Cookman that got a victory last weekend, was able to ball themselves. Talk about that matchup and what do you continue to want to get done with this ball club?
Again, we just want to go off. Defensively, we know that again they're going to give us some challenges with with JJ running. Again, as Coach Dancy talked about, he can do some things, man, as well as Bird, and again, we've been a poor tag team, just so happened that we're so fast and it doesn't look as bad as it should look. We've had guys of time earlier games, we just got to make sure that we make those plays, and especially with these 2 young men coming in. And again, just play football like we're capable of playing, doing their job. We're going to, again, stress that throughout the rest of the week as well, and stay focused because, we got, big event this weekend with homecoming, hadn't been here in a while. So, we just got to make sure these young men stay focused till after this game.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend. Look forward to the matchup.
Thanks, Doc.
Our next question from James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the Panthers Nation are well. Talk a little bit about that. Congratulations on that victory. Talk about what he was able to do. He had a really, really good game.
Say it one more time. Who was that? James?
Conley's game. Can you talk about what he was able to do against Lamar?
Yeah, Conley again. That's what he did.
Talk a little bit about Conley.
Got it, Jay. Got it. Yeah, that's what he do. He and I talked early in the week about, again, just going out doing what he do best, not thinking so much and just take what is given, and make plays. And that's what he did. He went into this game, Coach Frederick put him in position to make plays as he do every week. But again, he made the right reads, when it was necessary, and that's why he ended up with 100-some yards and running the ball and throwing the ball as well. I mean, he was making some great decisions. And again, that's what we're going to need him to do, come this weekend against Bethune-Cookman.
Coach, Bethune comes in for homecoming. What do you see when you look at the Wildcats?
I didn't.
Coach, Bethune comes in for homecoming. What do you see when you look at the Wildcats?
Oh yeah, I mean, again, you got Bird, again, good running back, and Coach Sim talked about him earlier, on the conference call, man. I mean, dude is good, JJ is good as well, man. Like I said, we gotta be on, our P's and Q's, and we gotta do what we do best, go get out the guys, and again, make things rough for them, throughout the course of the game. Traditionally, we hadn't been really good against running quarterbacks, but I think this week, now that we got everybody back, and we saw a previous game, against Southern, with a running quarterback. Now we know what to do. Now just us going out, or those guys going out executing, and hopefully, again, they can do that, for 4 quarters.
Have a great week, sir.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
All right, and our last question from Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. With 4 games to go, you guys are very much in the thick of the SWAC West race. What is it going to take for you guys down the stretch these last 4 games to continue to be in this position you're in right now?
Stay committed to the process, KM. We got to stay committed, man. I mean, these kids know what to do. Again, I keep reiterating about, us playing 4 quarters of football. Again, if we do that, I think we're going to be okay, but again, of course, we as coaches got to instill to these young men, we still in the hunt, we still got a chance. But again, they got to go out and take care of their business like they did this past weekend. If they do that, we're going to be okay.
Thank you.
Coach, we appreciate your time, brother.
Thanks, sir.
All right, coming up next, we'll have head coach Eric Dooley from Southern University. Coach Dooley, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing well. Kind of talk about your last game out and what you're preparing for this week against Jackson State.
Yeah, we had an opportunity to come out and play another game, and I thought we played 3 quarters. I thought we played 3 quarters. The guys came out not on fire like I wanted to, but they did get the message, and I thought they completed and finished strong. And the biggest thing, when you're playing a non-conference game, you just want to come out injury-free, and thank God that we came out injury-free and just be prepared for another challenge.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach Dooley. First question for Coach Dooley is from Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Dooley, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Ty Miller with Black College Football Weekly and the Power News Radio Network. This is about the upcoming game. Campbell coach Mike Maynor post-game compared Jackson State's defense to the 1985 Chicago Bears. How would you describe Jackson State's defense?
Well, I mean, they're flying around, they're making plays, they're playing aggressive football. That's the way I look at it. So, those guys are doing their scheme, what Coach Thurman liked them to do. They're flying around and making plays. They got some great athletes on that side of the ball.
We often talk about containing offensive players, but on defense, Aubrey Miller, the linebacker, wreaks havoc. What's your plan to slow down or contain his production?
Well, that'd be great if I can get that plan national wide. But of course, you got to make plans and know where he's at, because he's a good football player. But I think they got more than just Aubrey Miller that can play football. So we making our game plan and going through what we need to do and make sure that we play our brand of football.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Charles Bishop.
How you doing, Coach Dooley?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I want to start off by asking, obviously, you've been part of this rivalry, steeped in this tradition, Jackson State and Southern, but what personal experiences do you draw on with regards to this Jackson State Southern rivalry that you will impart to your team this week as they prepare for this raucous environment?
Well, with myself, I'm a guy that always talk about the rearview mirror, so I try not to bring up certain things. I try to look forward and move forward. But, even when I came into this opportunity in 1997, this has been going on. It's standing room only, regardless of where the game was played at. And it's a big-time game. So this game here is just what it always has been to me. But, we don't talk about the past. We try to move forward. Those guys came in and talked to those guys, before the season even started. But right now, it's about how are you gonna what are you gonna do for your chapter in your book? you got to write your own chapter and just move forward.
Sure thing. I want to shift gears and ask you a little bit about your defense. Coach Henry Miller, defense coordinator, another week where they've shut out an opponent in the second half. But talk about how that unit has gelled as the season forward.
Well, you know what? The thing is that those guys have been working hard since you're talking about June. They've been here, not having the opportunity to go out with the coaches, but it's just a credit to what they are, the work that they put in. And then also that the defensive side of the ball, Coach Miller doing a great job and got some assistant coaches on that side that's helping those guys. And those guys wish they had no choice, but they bought into what we were doing. And so now they're just playing together, and that chemistry is there. You can see it as they continue to play each weekend and learning one another.
Sure thing. Appreciate your time, Bill.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Next question up, Jim Kleinpeter. Jim, how you doing?
Hey, doing fine. Hey, Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
The game is going to be featured by the College Game Day pregame show, and I know it probably doesn't have that much to do with your team, but just for Southern University's sake, just talk about what it means to be part of a game day atmosphere in this great series.
Well, what the world is witnessing now, what's been going on for ages in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, SWAC football. That's what it's all about. You know, the intense rivalries and teams matching up regardless of what's taking place or regardless of the records. But you know, this nothing new. I did hear Coach McNair say it as well. This been going on for ages, but now, you know, fortunate enough by the grace of God, now the world get to see it.
Okay, my other question is, for a man who appreciates good offense and good quarterbacks, give me some of your impressions of Shadur Sanders and how much better he is this year.
I tell you what, the questions that you guys ask, I might as well write some game plans and tell some guys what they need to do because of the question that you guys ask. But it's obviously he's a good quarterback. I mean, when you talk about you have a young man come in as a freshman and lead them to a championship, and then he come back and correct some of the mistakes that he had from the previous year. That's coaching. That's all about coaching. That's all about being coach. But I wouldn't expect anything else. I said it, and I'll continue to say it. Within this conference, that's what you're going to get. Now, is it publicized? No, but that's what you're going to get. You're going to get great coaching. You're going to get great football players, and you're going to get some real exciting football.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question from James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the fellas are well. Can you talk a little bit about going on the road and playing another quality opponent and what you envision for this weekend? Coach, talk a little bit about this weekend's matchup and how important it is to play well.
I think to me, it's important to play well every game. I don't care who you're playing. It's always important to play well because you get an opportunity to go out to play football. But you're talking about this, the opponent that we're playing is going to be a great big time football. You know, something that I don't have to envision. It's been going on since I came in the conference as a coach since '97, and even when I played in the '80s. So it's nothing new to me. It's something that I've always seen and something that I know about. You know, but it's good football. You know, you're talking about two good teams that are both playing at a high level right now. So what better than to have game day to come in on publicize to give some light to the rest of the world and let them know what they're missing out when you're talking about SWAC football.
Thank you, sir. Have a good week.
Thank you. You too.
Dr. Cavill, you're next up.
This is Kenyatta with Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach, I know you're not going to give me the game and give it to the world. I certainly understand that. But I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you in terms of the players that were suspended. Were they able to sit out last week, or do you have to work through that over a couple of games?
No, fortunate enough, we were able to get by an opponent with all the guys that had to serve us. Suspension was able to sit out this game here and move forward. You know, again, I'm a guy that have that vision, that tunnel vision that we got to move forward and, you know, correct those things that wasn't good and make it better. You know, that's why I read that Bible from Genesis to Revelation. You know, sometimes we are forgiven of our sins. And so now we got to move forward. We got to understand what this is all about. and continue to coach the young men up to move and be better citizens within this world, because that's who's going to run this world when it's all said and done.
I appreciate that, Coach, and certainly understanding your history so you can move forward and look forward to the next opportunity that is against you. With that being said, the next opportunity is Jackson State. Don't have to talk about the rivalry. You really said all that. But in terms of the matchup, or is this more about doing what Southern Jaguars needs to do, or is this about game planning in regards to looking at what Jackson State does well?
Well, you know, we're gonna always be true to us. We're gonna play Southern University football. That's play for 60 minutes. We play our brand, and that's what we believe in, and that's what we are coached to do. So, of course, you always look at your opponents and see what they're doing well and what they are not doing so well, and you know, you game plan it. But I think at the end of the day, when it all said and done, Southern University gonna play Southern University football, and that's to play fast, physical, and have fun for 60 minutes.
Good luck this week. Look forward to the matchup, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Pat Tillman from Fox 44.
Hey, Coach, how we doing? We feeling well rested, I should say, after this homecoming weekend?
I'm doing well. I'm always rested.
Good to hear. This is kind of Bichon's biggest game in the SWAC. He's come from a junior college now to Southern. Where do you feel like he's at in this game, and do you feel like he's ready for this moment?
Let me step back a moment. Every game is a big game for Bichon because, you know, we play some opponents that can play some football in this conference. When we play any team in this conference, it's a big game, and that's the way we approach every game. So I don't want guys to get off into saying that, oh, this is the biggest game that you're going to play. Every time you step on that field, it's a big game because you get opportunity to play some exciting football. And then when the good Lord bless you with another day to live, why not go out and let the world know who he is?
A question about the defensive line. You know, where are they at as far as health and, you know, preparation for this Saturday? What kind of energy are they bringing this week?
Well, you know, at this point right now, they're as healthy as they could be. I mean, you know, little bumps and bruises with everyone because we're talking about a contact sport, but those guys are good and ready to go, and excited about it, you know, just to get an opportunity to play another day, game of football as well. So we're in good shape. I feel and believe on the defensive line. I believe that we're in good shape for us, the whole team, physically.
Thanks, Coach. We'll talk tomorrow. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coach Dooley, thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
All right, next up is the head coach for Texas Southern University, head coach Clarence McKinney. Coach, are you with us?
You got me?
All right, there you go. Coach, how you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Coach, let's start out with an opening statement. Of course, Texas Southern defeated Alcorn at their homecoming this past weekend. And so talk about the game this weekend and what you got coming up.
Yeah, tough, hard-fought win at Alcorn this past weekend. Tremendous atmosphere, great game. Both teams played extremely well. We were just fortunate enough to be the team that came out on top. And just glad to get out of there with a win.
Our first question is from Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Congratulations on the wins, Coach McKinney.
Thanks, Doc.
You talking about really performing in all facets of the game. I'm not sure where to start in terms of interception, pick six for touchdown, kickoff return, getting you good field position. The offense came to play in a lot of ways. Andrew Body probably had better games of the season, really stepping up on the road, both in terms of passing the ball efficiently and getting it done with his legs. Talk about how your team was able to come together on a tough road, on the road, in a tough environment, homecoming, to get this victory in all facets of the game.
Yeah, you know, we've preached all season about playing a complete game, you know, meaning we show up offensively, we show up defensively, and we show up in the special teams game. And this was the first game we feel like we played a complete game. It was a total team effort, total team win. And as you stated, you know, we got a touchdown on special teams. We got a touchdown on defense. We got a touchdown on offense. So our guys are locked in and played well enough for us to win.
As you move forward, you had homecoming this week. You got Lincoln, California coming in the Division II program. How do you take this momentum and move forward in terms of your team not getting caught up in all the festivities that will be on campus? As you have music out there now in terms of your back door and things of that nature. How do you take your team away, or do you just talk to them about being focused and the main thing being the main thing?
Well, our guys know when they cross the track and get on that grass that it's time to take care of business. So we practice with music. We're accustomed to having music being played while we're getting our work done. And we're not going to shy away from allowing our guys to participate in some of the festivities of homecoming. So as long as we're taking care of our business in the meeting room, in the classroom, and on the practice field, we're gonna let them enjoy a little bit of homecoming as well.
Thank you for that, Coach. Great point. Look forward to the matchup.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next question is from Zach McKinnell.
Zach McKinnell from the Blue Bloods. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How's it going, Zach?
Not too bad. Your defense stepped up in a big way. You mentioned the pick six. You guys forced 3 big interceptions, and it just seemed your defense made big time plays in crucial moments. Can you speak to their performance and what you guys, saw on film that you guys were able to make those big plays in those crucial moments?
Yeah, I think defensively we've been improving each game of the season, and to see our defense come up with 3 interceptions was huge. I mean, 2 of them in the end zone or near the end zone. I just think our guys believe in our system. They trust and believe in our coaches and the game plan each week. And we have some talent. We have some talent. We have some young talent, but we have some talented guys that are good enough to go out there and execute the plan. And that's what we're starting to see.
And you guys have big wins over Southern and now Alcorn State in the division. You guys are still in the race for the SWAC championship. What is the message to the team right now going into this this matchup with Lincoln this weekend and just moving forward, keeping their minds focused on the goal? What's been the message from the coaching staff to the team?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's cliche-ish, but we take it one game at a time. Lincoln's the next opponent on our schedule. We're focused on what we're going to do this week versus Lincoln. Our guys have been on what they call the homecoming tour. This is an important game to us, our alumni, our fans, our student body. We're just focused on winning this game this weekend.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our final question will come from James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the fellas are well, and I definitely hope you can hear me. Talk a little bit about, you have 4 games remaining, and as you said, it starts with Lincoln, but 3 of those games are at home. Just talk about what you want to see down the stretch.
Yeah, well, we want to see a lot of people in the stands. Our guys, we feel like they played hard enough to earn the right for, people to come out and support. But I hadn't looked past our opponent this week. Lincoln is who's up on the schedule. It's homecoming. It would be real embarrassing, if we brought a team in here who's only had a program for a few years and we don't take care of business. So we're going to focus on taking care of business versus Lincoln and giving our fans, our alumni, our student body something to be happy about this homecoming weekend.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
Thank you. You do the same.
Mr. Mosley, one question there for Coach McKinney.
Hey, thank you. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How's it going?
Good, good. Look, you guys had almost 200 yards rushing, and Andrew had 22 carries for almost 80 yards. Talk about the rushing attack and how important that was against that Alcorn defense.
Yeah, it was very important. Alcorn is an explosive team, and part of rushing the ball is a part of playing defense and keeping the ball away from Alcorn. And so we felt like we could run the ball a little bit, and we found some success.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach, we appreciate your time, and good luck coming up this weekend with homecoming.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
All right, next up, we'll have Coach Prime coming up from Jackson State University. Give us about 2 minutes and we'll have him board. Thank you for your patience. We should have Coach Prime on here in just a minute. All right, Coach Prime, are you with us?
Give me one moment, grabbing him right now.
While we wait for Coach Prime, we're going to ask that everybody hold their questions to one question each agency. We'll try to get to as many as possible and stay within the allotted time that we have.
Just give us one more moment.
Yes, sir.
How's everyone?
Good morning, Coach Prime. How are you, sir?
Awesome, awesome. Glad everyone's here. Blessed and highly favored. Wonderful game. Coach Bender had his guys ready to play. They were tough. They was physical, fast, smart. They came to play some football, and that's what we expected. He took advantage of a tremendous opportunity in his kids' ball. So hats off to him, hats off to his program, and I'm a fan of he and his program. We overcame tremendous adversity. they kind of took away the pass a little bit by the coverages that they played, but we came out of there with 184 yards rushing, led by Savion Wilkerson. Field goal kicker, Alejandro was awesome as usual. Punting game with Sam Johnson was awesome as usual. We kicked off the ball well. Special teams did their part. Team effort, coaches coached their butts off, made tremendous adjustments at halftime, and defense is what it is. I'm looking at they rushed for $134, 3.1 per carry. They only threw for 137 yards. We gave up a couple things that we shouldn't have allowed that. But overall, great win, great team effort, which we're 7-0, and I'm proud of that.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Our first question comes from Charles Bishop.
How you doing, Coach?
How you doing, sir?
Hey, I want to start off, and you mentioned it in your opening statement with regards to facing adversity, and you touched on it in the walkthrough, how you said that there will be a time where they will face adversity. How gratifying is it to know that your team responds to that and has been able to overcome whatever adversity they faced thus far this season?
Well, I'm happy that their coach for that. Coach is doing a heck of a job. I mean, a heck preparing them for the different things and what we go over in the morning meetings with different videos, different speeches to really prepare them not only for football, but for life's adversities. And the kids responded. They responded well. We fumbled in red zone, I believe. We threw an interception in the red zone. We jumped offside in the red zone. We left 21 points out there, and that to me, that's adversity. And they had like a 4th and short at the beginning of the game. They went for it on our side of the field, which would have changed the whole darn game at the onset. But they got it, and they went on as well. But that's adversity right there. Someone in your home, on your homecoming, going for it on that side of the field, that was tremendous. But that's believing in your team. That's why I got a lot of love and respect for the coaching staff.
Our next question comes from Dr. Cavill.
Good afternoon, Coach Prime.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Talked about getting some key players back on the defensive side of the ball, and that included Travis Hunter, but we saw him on the offense in terms of getting some time in there for 4 receptions, 24 yards. Right. Talk about what he was able to do coming back into the game, also as well as another freshman top 100 recruit, if you would, in terms of Kevin Coleman, that continues to get some things done with the reception in there, and also in terms of what he did on the kickoff.
Well, we're excited about the freshmen that we have. We take a lot of pride in that because we don't take too many kids out of high school. We live in and we eat from the portal. We don't die from nothing. I hate that word, but we eat from the portal. So those guys are truly contributing. When you talk about someone like Travis, he places fear in people's heart when he's on the offense or defensive side of the ball. I think they had several attempts at him, but it wasn't insignificant at all. And he's just a solid player. Offensively, we targeted him 5 times and hit him 4. That's pretty darn good. We should be better. We got a little happy going to him on the goal line. I felt like we should just ran the darn football. While we trying to throw a fade stop to Travis when we got a guy 6'4" on the other side of the darn field. So those little things we got to correct. But I'm happy with the way it turned out. I'm happy with the contribution from our freshmen. And please don't forget Mr. Mata. Please don't forget Mr. Mata. Whenever you give me a lineup of freshmen, only kicks that he missed has been blocked. Yeah, and we're going to get whoever allowed that block off that team so they don't block anymore. But Mr. Mata has been our go-to. I mean, when we get across that 50-yard line, it's Mata time. It don't matter where he at. He's going to make it, all right? That's what we say. That's my little squiggy, man. I love him to life. We got a great kicking staff. I call them staff because they like grown men. They do a phenomenal job. That's the biggest upgrade we've had this year. Not offensively, not defensively, but the kicking unit has been phenomenal. Those guys are good.
All right, our next question comes from Zach McKinnell.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
How you doing, sir?
And you just mentioned your kicker being almost automatic this season outside of some blocks, but we know in the red zone you guys want to get 7 points if you can. What's been the message from the staff, and what have you guys seen on film on how you guys can turn some of these red zone opportunities into 7 rather than 3 moving forward?
We got to run the ball. We got to be more aggressive with the run. Everyone knows we got a quarterback that can spin it, and we got receivers that can go get it. So oftentimes those teams are dropping 7, they're dropping 8, and we just got to go get it. We got to run the football hard nosed, and we got to score. So that's pretty much the formula. We just got to want it a lot more than they do not want us to score. It's just attitude there. And the red zone is straight out attitude. It has nothing to do with tremendous amount of scheme, because DBs could be brave because you don't have a 10 or 15 yards to darn cover. Anybody could do that, you know? So we just got to want it a lot more than they want it.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we have time for 2 more questions. Jim Klein, Peter.
Hi, Coach. Yes, would you talk a little bit about Southern and what impresses you about them overall, and especially their quarterback, Bashawn McCray?
Southern's a good, solid football team. I mean, I'm not going to say what transpired last year because it's a new coaching staff. So you got to really think about our Prairie View. You got to really, think about some things of where the coach comes from and what transpired there with him, if I'm correct. But they're a tough football team, man. I'm not going to sit up there and say this guy, because we have a really good football team as well. And you talk about their quarterback, we have a really good quarterback as well. And we got some guys that can really rush the passer as well. Defensively, they're going to have a problem. It's easy to sit up there and lift them up, which they're well coached. They're a team that's pretty good. Games like this is going to come down to being disciplined. Remember that. It's going to come down to being disciplined. The penalties, the dumb bonehead plays that some kids may have at certain times, blowing coverages and doing things they shouldn't do at the most opportune time. It's going to come to discipline, and that's who's going to take this game home, the most disciplined team.
All right, our next question from Kyle Mosley.
Hey, Coach Prime, how are you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Good, good. Hey, look, you have been covered by 60 Minutes and as well as my affiliates with Sports Illustrated. You talked to the P-Valley cast about how they have touched different demographics, and I know that the HBCU landscape has been opened up because of your contributions as well. How important is it for us to moving forward to keep the message out there to the mainstream media and people who are not familiar with HBCUs?
I think it's very important. You got to understand, P-Valley is a wonderful show, which should be an award-winning show that touches all demographics, all social climates, and whosoever will. Shouldn't we be like that as men and women? We should not be judgmental by any means. We should open our arms and our hearts to everyone and show them love and respect and appreciation. And I feel like that's what we should do with HBCUs. We got to open our hearts and our minds to changes, to different ideologies and just different thoughts, and proceed with those thoughts and make them manifest. We can't be narrow-minded and closed-minded thinking and saying, well, it worked like this 25 years. No, it really didn't. It really didn't. We say it did, but it really didn't. And no one talks about the truth of the matter of, we have some dysfunction and we need to fix it. So I'm just willing to go out there and step out and say, you know what? I want all to come. I want to invite everybody. I don't know who's coming this week. We got a whole lineup of people that we could choose. And we're going to keep on continuing to do what we do because we're trying to reach and teach and touch the majority, not the minority. We've already touched the minority.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Coach Prime, we thank you, and good luck coming up this weekend against Southern University.
I appreciate it. Dr. Cavill, much love. I know you had one more. Did you have one more, my man? Are you good?
I'm good, Coach Prime. I appreciate it.
Okay, because you didn't let my other brother talk. Now, he always asks me one question, James Hill.
All right, James Hill, last question.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to run your stuff, but he usually gets a question.
My guy, Coach Prime, I hope you can hear me. I've had internet issues. Can you talk about Shador? He is blazing a trail towards competing for.
Well, Shador's doing all right, right? You know, we had our yesterday, our weekly brunch, and I just got on his butt about, we got 3 points in the red zone. Do not do anything to forfeit the 3, trying to get to 7. You and your partner over there on the right side, Travis, I know y'all homies, but y'all leave that foolishness alone on the field, and let's take these 3 and not forfeit the 7, all right? To forfeit the 3 by throwing a mindless pick. I said, you look at that with me, I would have ran it all the way back and high stepped it on you. That's the kind of conversations a father can have with his son. But in the moment, I'm heated, I'm upset because he knows better. But I'm happy. I think he threw for another 74, 75% completion percentage, which when they're dropping 8, man, they were playing like a 3 cloud. And shoot, you look back, there was 8 people deep. And sometimes, but we got the job done. So I'm happy with Shedeur. We're not thinking about, we think about winning. If you win, and he plays well, then we'll give some thought to that as well.
Thank you, Coach. Have a blessed week.
Appreciate it. God bless you all.
Coach Prime, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
God bless.
All right, that'll do it for our media call this week. And again, if you have any questions, you can email Andrew at the conference office. Thank you all so much for joining us.